All right, so got some horse time in already, and here I am up the mountain, solo filming again. And yeah, the gun's loaded. There's actually a pretty big grizzly bear right down below me last evening, and they're starting to rut pretty good right now. And I'm in a bit of a dippy, rocky spot, and there's the thermals are starting to pick up. So the wind is actually your enemy in the bush when it comes to bumping into a grizzly bear, or any predator, any wildlife. When you've got that wind source in the timber, right? Because they're just moseying along, feeding all day. The sun's out, and they love the sun. And being in a spot like this, where it's all contoured, the ground's contoured, you come up and go nose to nose. Sometimes 1 in a million happens, and so yeah, you're kind of silly to go into the woods where I live without a rifle right now. If you're going to go fairly remote where there are a bunch of grizzly bears, and they're starting to rut. But anyway, where to start? I got some incredible emails continue to come in. I'll share a couple emails encounters here today before I leave. And what else? That print that we found the other day. All right, I'm gonna make this video is gonna be directed at that, pointing out a few items for a lot of you people that are confused or can get confused, maybe possibly don't have too much first-hand knowledge of how marks can be made and left in the dirt and the soil and the snow from game animals. And but first, before I do address this topic, you have to understand this. I've said it numerous times. I don't give a shit about prints. I don't care. Who gives a shit? It's been done. There's been so many Sasquatch footprints found, recorded, cast, videotaped, photographed. It's enough to make you dizzy. It's been done. It doesn't matter if it gets done again. It just doesn't matter. And photographs, I'll address some photographs possibly in this video as well, the next one, see what kind of time we got here, how long this takes. Photographs, the same thing. I've had so many photographs mailed to me, it's absolutely ridiculous. But again, like I said in the beginning, I don't give a shit about photographs. I just don't care. You know, if somebody emails me a video clip of one of these things, well, obviously you're gonna look. Who doesn't want to have a glance at that, right? But what I'm saying to all you guys is once you see one of these things firsthand, video clips and photographs don't do anything. It doesn't matter anymore. Okay, it's confirmed. I know they're out there. So a lot of people, a lot of mainstream people who dedicate their lives to researching, being a researcher, they will stay there and stay obsessed with those items and never move ahead, never go any further. They just stay there, presenting the exact same thing weekly, daily, monthly, yearly, for years, and then they die. And nothing changed. So what I'm getting at is my stance on that, my stance on the proof, the footprints, the video clips, the pictures. Who cares? I'm past it. I'm way past it. All I'm concerned about now is, you know what? Would it be easy to walk away from what I'm doing right now? You know, I'm not trying to prove anything to anybody. This isn't the place to come for proof. If your brain tells you that there's no proof and they need to be proven at this point of the game, I'm just going to say it flat out, you're a special kind of dumb. Your brain isn't firing properly. Okay? I have easily over 10,000 freaking emails sent in to me now from people all around the world wanting to get off their chest what scared the living shit out of them, what annihilated their outdoor careers, which annihilated their outdoor passions. Numerous people are too scared to go outside when the lights are out now and the sun's down. Numerous people are too scared to let their children play in the yard of their dream home. And that is what keeps me doing what I'm doing. You know, as far as YouTube goes or the internet, who gives a shit? Really. I make my living by working hard. Okay, I don't make my living by taking money from people or trying to look for an angle or a scam. I've been working hard, honestly, all my life, and I support myself, and I earn a living. A lot of people, you don't understand what I've done for a living. I think I've been self-employed since I was like 25 years old. I haven't had anybody tell me what to do for a long time. And I am a ticketed tradesman. I've been a contractor for many years in Whistler, British Columbia. I am a certified licensed hunting guide, big game guide in British Columbia. I've been a certified guide in the Yukon. I have guided for steelhead in riverboats. I've guided for salmon, halibut in the ocean offshore. I'm an outdoor guide. I make a living, honestly. And money, you really think money is my motivation for going online, really, when it comes to this topic? And people say, potentially, I'm doing this for the money. You know what? If you're a business owner, when it comes to hunting or fishing or even in the trades, possibly this day and age, the most efficient suicide move you could make is probably coming out and talking about Sasquatch and Bigfoot beings on the internet, right? How many people wouldn't even dream of doing that because they'd be terrified of losing business? But I guess though, for me personally, if you want people to quit being scared, you're gonna have to walk the walk, right? So here I am. But getting back, I know I'm rambling a little bit. If you don't like it, just leave. When I see all those emails from all these people, I see who they are and listen to their words, and I picture being them, and it just makes me angry. It just makes me angry that these poor souls are not honestly informed today. Because my life is the outdoors. My life is the real world, which I'm standing in right now. That's my life, and I love it. It's healthy. It's created a very, very experience-rich life for me. I have so many memories of stupid. I've helped literally thousands of people attain their outdoor dreams. So I'm just trying to get that point across to you so you understand how upsetting it is for me to receive over 10,000 emails from people, and the majority of them have had their outdoor passions annihilated because of what they saw and they didn't ask to see it. If you can't understand that that's fuel for me to do what I'm doing here online, then there's nothing here for you. There's nothing your brain and my brain are going to have in common at all. So you should probably just carry on. But that's why I'm here. That's why I'm doing this. And that's why I'm angry at the people who have been actively misleading and lying to all of you on a regular basis. All right? And do I find them intimidating? Not the slightest. I'd love to get my hands on a couple of them. Hopefully they come out to British Columbia sometime again soon, and we can bump into them. And anyway, babbling. I don't want to go on that. I'll try to stay away from that topic. But that photograph, the video, the print that Sarah and I found a couple of evenings ago, what many of you don't understand is where I hunt for myself personally. I have been it's a struggle, it's hard. I got to put out a big effort to keep my hunting spots secret because I put a lot of time in. And I don't just go out to cut a tag or kill anything. I like to let a population of game animals, we'll talk about deer here, I like to let the population of deer I'm after here grow to mature, to get past mature before I harvest them. And that's called selective hunting. It's like anything else. You responsibly take care of the game animals where you are, you let them all grow up, go past their prime until they're ready for harvest. And added on top of that, I really like to look for the rare genetic bloodline of a lot of these animals, and I've found some jackpot spots where the DNA, the genetics in there is incredible. And I have been very fortunate. I've harvested a lot of incredibly large black-tailed deer in these places where I hunt in coastal British Columbia, and I've shared it online. I have an app out, Blacktail Hunter, to help people with that knowledge. They can do it too. But unfortunately, there is a pile of people that put in a big effort to try to find out where I hunt so they can go there too, which in turn would ruin all of those years of effort that I put into those spots. So where that print was is one of my best places, and nobody goes there. And I have to be careful at what I share about this spot or with the video camera when I share with you guys what I find there, so that a lot of these lazy hunters, I call them, also / detectives, don't figure out where I'm hunting and ruin my spot. So, but what I can tell you, I'll show you this one. A lot of people, I've read some of the comments till it just got out to hand out till lunch, and I don't even read them anymore. Some people are saying, well, that's a cinder block print. I had running shoes on in this particular evening, and reason being, I went away for work for a few days last week, and I brought my hiking boots with me, and I left them down in the city by accident. I don't have any hiking boots at home, and all I got is these heeled cowboy boots or my my running shoes, which I wear to the gym, etc. And but I just bought Sarah some brand new wicked hiking boots, and because she wants to come and do some big hikes with me, and this one hike wasn't too big, and I thought, right on, okay, let's go get that last camera. I had one last trail camera on this particular migration trail. It's a migration trail. It's also can be potentially a hot spot in the fall. So I said, well, let's go hike up. I think there's enough snow now. We can drive all the way up there and then hike to the camera, go get it. And it'll be a mediocre hike for her to feel how these hiking boots were on her feet. And then I decided, well, what the hell, I'll just wear my runners. I can do it. And it's not advisable. You roll an ankle easy. So that's why I had runners on. That's why they're clean. Now, another thing too is about this particular spot where that print was in the mud. I'll show you this clip right here with this bear that I edited up, a funny clip of this bear. And look in the background. That's a huge granite rock slide, natural rock slide, okay? And this is a bit of a belting trail that goes around. I can't say too much about this one particular mountain because I just don't want to give it away to the lazy hunters near me. So as you go along this trail, you can see this bear's feet right here. There's a lot of rock in there, right? There's a lot of rock. There's some dirt right where he's walking. Well, as you walk along, you can see that rock slide in the back. It's a big rock slide, goes all the way down. Well, just ahead of that bear to the right, another 60 yards, is where there's one stretch there in the trail where it held water. It built up some soil and some moss and some greenery, and it was soft enough to hold that print, or a print. There's a couple deer prints along the way, but the majority of this trail is bone dry, rock, and blowdown. Okay? And why, people say, what, there's only one print? Well, these beings, typically on average, they go out of their way to conceal their prints, all right? That's just what they do. And this particular spot where I leave this camera, and I've left a camera there year-round for, I think, about 7 years now, I've never had one human being on that trail camera, ever, in 7 years. I've never seen one footprint in the snow on this trail from a human being, but mine, in 7 years, okay? And the thought of it being a brick or a board or a cinder block, if I could pan around and show you where we were standing, you would laugh. You would laugh out loud at that speculation. Now, one frustrating, I have so many people email me photographs of footprints. It's off the charts. And unfortunately, I tell every one of them, I go, well, I can understand why and how people get excited when they're there looking at it, because you can see it clear. But there's very rarely in broad daylight without snow or without full mud that you can get a photograph or video clip clearly of what you're seeing and then present it to people online, right? I get tons of prints that say, here, this is a perfect print we found. It's hard to see, but check it out. And it's on top of grass, and I can't see anything. I'm not going to run them into the ground for it because I know how hard it is to take a picture of a print of anything in daylight without mud or snow. It's very, very difficult. Last light in the evening or nighttime with the flashlight on an angle and you catch the shadows, then you can get those indents pretty clearly. But I put my all I had was my phone. I put it down. I tried to get the depth. I tried to show it as best I could, knowing it's basically a waste of time anyway. And then there's reception where we are. Okay, there's actually a cell tower. There's a few of them along the way where we're situated to go all the way down, the sea to sky to the ocean there in Squamish, British Columbia, and you can see one off in the distance, and so there's reception up there. I'm like, wow, and we were definitely fired up. Sarah said her heart was racing. But what you can't see, once I get back, I'll try to add in these clips. But if you look at the print from the heel towards the toes, you can see where it indents where the ball went down. You can see where the water filled up where the toes were. You can see that, okay? And it's going to be tough for anybody to see just on your own looking at that video clip that I posted up real quick. And why did I post that up? Well, we were pretty excited in a way. It's a rare find by fluke. Sarah and I have both. She's been with me when we found another print that was very fresh. And what are the chances of that, right? I mean, the chances of finding Sasquatch prints aren't very common. I think I've done it maybe 5 or 6 times. But we're talking over 250 days a year running around the mountains. And I don't look for Sasquatch sign. I don't care. I actually try to avoid these things. I'm not into them. You know what? I know there's grizzly bears around here. I know there's sow grizzly bears around here. I don't go out of my way to find them. I know they're there. I respect that. I remain aware, and I do not try to intentionally bump into them. I'm not into it. But as a hunter and as a wolf trapper, wolf control person, I 90% of my hunting success comes from looking for tracks of the game that I'm after. Most of the time, the game that I'm after is very elusive, very, very elusive. Especially the ones that I selectively hunt. They're genetically superior. They're tough to get. You rarely see them. They're mostly nocturnal, but they can't hide their tracks. So just so you know, I'm always looking for tracks. If I see a chunk of ground 20 yards over that way and I'm walking a rock and it looks like it might be soft enough to hold print, I go running over there. But I'll go out of my way and I check soft ground for tracks. This is what I do. Whether I'm up in northern British Columbia or down here in south coastal British Columbia, I don't go by anywhere that can hold a track. But I'm not looking for Sasquatch prints. I'm looking for game tracks. So as I walk along this trail, I look down and it's like, holy crap, what's that? Wild. And when you look at it, what the video somewhat does not show clearly to all of you is that moss, that layer of green fluffy moss, that mucky damp moss, because it's been raining here for the past week, sitting on top. I don't know what made that print, how it made that print the way it did. It looks like it was going along and possibly put on the brakes and stopped. I don't know. I haven't a clue. I'm trying to picture how that print was made because the top layer of that green stuff is pushed forward and it's bunched up in a pile at the end of the track. It actually conceals some of those toe prints that we could see clearly in that print. Okay? And you could also see where the water had sat, where the ball and the toes were deeper. So if you go right down the ground and look from heel to toe in that print, you can see the dip. All right? The video makes it look like it's dead flat, stomped with what is cinder block? Whatever. So the straight lines on the right-hand side of this print, well, look closer. There's a slight bulge on the right side of that print, just shy of where the large toe would be. It's actually a bit of a bulge there. You can see it. But it is what it is. I know what I saw. I know what I'm looking at. I'm a professional hunting guide. I know what I'm looking at. That wasn't made by a human being. The depth, I tried to show the depth of that print. I'm 210 pounds right now. I'll lose, 15 pounds when, once hunting starts again. I'll lose around 15 pounds. But right now I'm 210, and you can see in the video, I jumped up and down 3 times to try to see what kind of depth I get in that mud. And I didn't even make a dent in it. Didn't even make a dent. I think I got about that deep, but that print was that deep. So there you go. It's a fresh print. It was made by something very heavy, and by the looks of it, something very large. All right? Take from it what you will. I know what I saw. If what you were looking at with that video clip, this video clip makes you angry, you should probably go get some counseling. Okay?
Heavy chunk of meat that pushed that print.
Tracks are tracks are tracks. Tracks are facts. Major John Brindernagel said tracks are facts, and tracks are facts. But when it really comes down to it now, getting back to what motivates me to do this is I just can't turn my back on the literally thousands and thousands of people who have emailed me their encounters and emailed me and clearly got across to me how concerned they are, how messed up they are from what they experience. So how do you do that? How do you just drop what I'm doing here and walk away from all those people? It's not possible. Okay? So I gotta keep doing it. I gotta help these people. We all gotta help these people. And I somehow have to show you, all of you, other angles to look at things when you're trying to make sense of this topic. Okay?